All right, let's talk about a huge moment in the Plazm protocol, day 77. This is the big one, the finish line for the longest possible staking period. It's where your patience, your strategy, and the whole system's design all come together. So let's jump right in and break down what this day really means for you as a staker.
So you've done it. You've locked up your Plazm, you've patiently waited for more than 2.5 months, and the countdown is finally over. The big question on everyone's mind is, what happens now? What are your options, and what could the outcomes look like? We're going to walk through it all together.
Okay, so first things first, we really need to get why day 77 is such a massive deal in the first place. You see, the entire reward system is specifically built to favor people who are in it for the long haul. And this day, well, it's the ultimate payoff for that commitment.
The secret sauce behind all of this is something called the time-squared formula. And this isn't your typical run-of-the-mill reward system where you just get a little more for waiting a little longer. No. Your share of the rewards gets exponentially bigger the longer you're locked in. It's an absolute game changer.
Just look at the math right here. It's so simple but so powerful. The number of shares you have is your stake multiplied by the days locked squared. That little squared is everything. It means your reward power doesn't just climb steadily, it rockets upwards. Sticking it out for the full 77 days gives you a gigantic advantage over someone who only stakes for, say, a few weeks. Time literally becomes your superpower here.
So, when that timer finally hits 0, here's the haul. First, you get your original stake back. Of course. You also get every single one of the bonus rewards that have been piling up. And thanks to that incredible time-squared formula, you've earned a much bigger piece of the pie. Or the treasure, as the protocol calls it.
And this, right here, is where things get really interesting. You've got your principal and all those rewards sitting in your wallet. You're officially at a fork in the road. And the choice you make next is going to shape your entire strategy from here on out.
You've basically got two main paths you can go down. Option A, over on the left, Liquidate. You can just take your original Plazm, all those rewards, and cash out. Sell them, use them, whatever you want. Then there's option B, Compound. This is where you take everything, the original stake and all the rewards, and roll it right back into a brand new stake.
Let's dig into option B first, because honestly, this is the path the protocol is designed to reward the most. This is where you can start to create what's been described as a true avalanche of growth.
And that's not just me saying that. The team behind Plazm uses this exact metaphor, an unstoppable avalanche. And it makes perfect sense, right? When you compound, you're not just earning on your initial investment anymore. You start earning new rewards on your old rewards. It's that classic snowball effect, and over time, it can grow into something massive.
I mean, just look at this visually. That first bar, that's your starting point. But that second, taller bar, that's your new starting line after just one 77-day cycle. By restaking that bigger amount, you've just supercharged your future earning power, and guess what? That new, bigger stake gets that awesome time-squared multiplier applied to it all over again.
And this is the 1-2 punch that makes it all so effective. See, you've got two things working for you. On one hand, you're growing the amount of Plazm you personally own through compounding. And at the exact same time, the protocol's buy and burn mechanism is working in the background, making the overall supply of the token more scarce. You get more tokens while there are fewer tokens out there in total. That's a powerful combo.
Okay, but let's be real. Markets don't just go up forever, right? What happens if things cool off? That treasure, the rewards, it's all tied to real business profits, and those profits can definitely go up and down.
So if the market just gets quiet for a bit, or like the source material says, the wind dies down, then the profits coming from the real yield engine might shrink. And that means, yeah, there's going to be less treasure to go around in that daily reward pool for everybody.
But here's the thing, the protocol was built for this kind of weather. It has defenses baked right in. The liquidity that's already in the system, it stays locked, kind of like a safety net. And on top of that, part of the profits are always used for a buy and build fund, which is constantly making that pool of liquidity even deeper. The goal is to keep trading smooth and stable and to try and prevent those crazy price swings you see elsewhere.
All right, time to address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the absolute worst-case scenario. What if things go really south? What if on day 77, everyone decides to sell at the same time? Well, the protocol has a plan for that too.
This is the ultimate stress test for any crypto project, isn't it? A massive wave of selling all at once puts a ton of downward pressure on the price. So how on earth does Plazm plan to defend against something like that?
The answer, the main line of defense, is that very same system we talked about earlier, the buy and burn.
It's constantly fueled by profits from the real yield engine, and it's designed to be the perfect counterpunch to heavy selling pressure.
So, here's how that loop works, plain and simple. Real profits come in, usually in a stablecoin, like USDC. The system then takes that USDC, goes out onto the open market, and buys up its own XPL tokens. Then, and this is the most important part, it sends those tokens to a dead wallet. They're burned, gone forever, which of course reduces the total supply.
Now this is where it gets really clever, almost backwards from what you'd expect. If everyone is selling and the price of XPL is dropping, that means the protocol's USDC profits can actually buy more XPL for the same amount of money. So a price crash actually makes the buy and burn more aggressive, pulling even more tokens out of circulation right when the system needs that scarcity the most.
And this quote from the team just hits the nail on the head. The whole system is designed to be deflationary. Unlike projects that might print new tokens to pay for things, Plazm is built to constantly shrink its own supply. It's the literal opposite of being diluted.
So, as we start to pull all these different pieces together, a really clear picture starts to form. The entire protocol is built around one core philosophy, rewarding patience and building a system that's designed to last. So, if you take anything away from this, it's these core ideas. The system is hardwired to reward long-term patience with that time-squared formula. It's constantly creating deflationary pressure with the buy and burn, and all the while, it's trying to build a resilient foundation that can handle the market's ups and downs.
And all of this leaves us with one last question to chew on. In a crypto world that's so often about speed and short-term gains, the entire design of Plazm seems to be screaming that the most valuable thing you can have is just good old-fashioned patience. Maybe that's the real treasure after all. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.